everyone, it's Maria from J'adore le papier. It's been a while. I've actually moved back to my parents temporarily, and so I am recording this from their house. This is Hermes Origins. It is a custom order, History of a Saddle Maker, and the book is quite large. It's 11 by 11 and has a 4-inch spine. It can be carried like a handbag, but it's very, very, very heavy, so I don't recommend that for too long. And of course, it's the history of Thierry Hermes and how Hermes became today, using my dad's vintage camera bag. So it reminded me of a saddle, a side saddle bag. You'll find all of the ephemera is basically from Sarah at Crafty Paper Bits, and also from French Billet Doux, Catherine. So thank you, Catherine, for sponsoring this. You'll see, I actually do tell the story. Thierry was born January 10th, 1801. So that big large tag is actually perfect for his birthday because it has a letter H and his birthday on it. A lot of these pages are from 1800s, and I love the tan dye on there because he did start out as a saddle maker or a leather worker. The family moved to Paris from Germany in 1827, and that's where he learned his leather making craft. And so this chapter 1 here is meant to be the start of Hermes, which actually started in 1837. So he took his leather making craft and started making bridles and equipment for the carriage industry. A lot of these orange colors that you'll see printed to tissue paper or sewing pattern paper are from my own kit, Origins 1 and 2, a lot of oranges and horse images. And I'm just showing you some artwork from the late 1800s there. These gray pages are actually original to the book, so I use them as chapters 1 and 2 dividers. And again, the ephemera, mostly from Sarah. The book pages and ledgers are all from Ina at Exquisite Journals now, I think, and I'll be sure to list everybody below. This here is my favorite piece from Sarah. It's actually a chapter divider, and she labeled it Hermes because when she sent me my papers, she put everything together by theme, and I just couldn't not include it. And it has just the perfect colors, threading, and patterns for the Hermes line today. So because they did start making saddles and bridles, this chapter really is about the horse and the rider. And then this little ephemera here, this Hermes phone book, is from Catherine French Billet Doux. And of course, all the oranges, browns, even though orange wasn't their official color yet, everything just coordinates so perfectly. So this color palette is very neutral, browns, oranges, and tans. The front cover is actually based on, inspired by a real Birkin model. I think it's a twill Birkin bag, and it's a 3-in-1. There's a separate piece that goes inside the bag, but the outside is that twill. And then you'll find this is now chapter 2, where the the son, Charles Emile, actually moves Hermes to a new location. The first location was Rue Basse du Rempart, and then the second location was to 24 Rue Faubourg Saint-Honore. This man actually represents Charles Emile well because he's just contemplating the move and all of the equipment that they have to buy now that they want to move into more harnesses and saddles. And of course, by this point, I think they were employing up to 80 saddle makers. So this is all the bookwork. Of course, everything is French. All the paperwork is French. And also how they want to expand beyond just the bridles, but into saddle making and other leather goods that the clients have been asking for. So these images are from my digital kit as well. And I love the copies of original letters from France that I got from Ina, and these engineering and math book pages just depicting some of the new equipment that he probably had to invest in. So after 1880, Charles Emile and his brother actually ran the company, and it wouldn't be until 1922 when Emile Maurice Hermes, the grandson of Thierry, takes over. So I'm just going to play a little bit of music probably and let the pages speak for themselves, except for maybe when an important date comes up, just like now, the zipper. Emile Hermes in 1922, when he took over, actually went to North America and he found the zipper on top of some U.S. Army trucks. And so he applied for the patent for use in Europe for leather goods. And so by 1923, he actually designed the very first handbag with a zipper top or zipper close for his wife. And at that time, it was called Le Sac de l'Auto, but today it's called Bolide. It's probably one of the most classic. I don't have a picture of the original. I think it's on a special on YouTube or TV somewhere, and I'll link it below. But I love this little cigarette card. It's actually the history of the auto car. So that bag was meant to be taken on trips, which is something that his wife really wanted. Now, Emile Maurice only had 4 daughters, so that meant after this third generation that a man wouldn't be able to take over unless one of the daughters married. So those pictures are his 4 daughters, not the real ones, but represent. And then these are the women who are lining up for the new zipper top Bolide handbag. By 1923, so if you reverse those numbers there, that's actually an advertisement for the Hermes Frères, the brothers store. That's what it was named. Golf clothes in 1925, first men's ready-to-wear, and then jewelry by 1927, and other leather goods, and then, of course, the watch. I believe the watch is 1928. Okay, another important date, 1956. Even though the Kelly bag, originally called Sac de Piche, was actually designed in 1937 by Robert Dumas, a son-in-law. In 1956, Life magazine actually captured a picture of Grace Kelly holding it over her supposed baby bump. And so in 1956, or shortly after, it was renamed the Kelly bag because everyone was asking for it by that name. And then 1951, the first Hermes cologne was designed. It was not in-house yet, but through a partnership. And then of course this little handbag here actually is something I made back in 2003. You guys have seen my lipstick and or other handbag little greeting cards, so that was one of my last samples. The very first scarf, it was a square carré, was made or designed also by Robert Dumas in 1937, so around the same time he designed the Kelly bag. And the name translates into women playing a card game wearing blonde wigs. And that was a picture of it there. And this is a green image of a scarf similar to what Hermes would design. It's not Hermes, but this cover is from 1953 or 56 that I got from Ina. And that's why I have the scarf a little bit out of order, even though it was designed in 1930, or the very first scarf was 1937. We're now jumping to 1953 and 56, and then 1961 for the second perfume, a men's cologne. And then this is a style of scarf. They have the square carré, and this is actually a shawl style that I used wool and cashmere. And that little cashmere button, thread button there is actually from Paris that I got on a trip with my friend Susie at a cashmere shop. It went with one of my sweaters. You'll find some secret journaling throughout, so even though this is a pretty lookbook, it's actually truly a functional journal, just like I like to use them. This is a picture of Robert Dumas in 1951. He takes over Hermes, and he again designed the first scarf in 1937, the sac de pêche, the eventual Kelly bag in 35, and he actually is the one who brought the orange color and orange boxes and the new logo, which is the carriage with a single horse. In 1967, this lady here, I think it's Catherine, let me look at my notes. Caroli comes on as a designer, and she's in charge of Women's Day ready to wear, and she's also responsible for the H buckle belt, that very, very famous and beautiful H buckle. This is a picture of Jean-Louis Dumas, the son of Robert. He takes over in 1978, but he's pictured in here because he was responsible for co-designing the Birkin bag, which is, of course, the cover of this journal. And then from here, the French advertisements of Hermes are very modern already, and I just added a little bit of my artwork of what I would like to see, you know, what I imagined one of the bracelets to look like. And then of course you've seen maybe from my Instagram some of the little fashion sketches that I made of modern outfits. And then yeah, so this is towards the end of the journal already. It's actually quite thick because of the ephemera pieces I put in there, but it doesn't have as many pages. I think it's just 120. But I hope you enjoyed the history where Thierry Hermes starts out as a bridal maker and carriage industry leather goods maker, moves into saddles, and then eventually moves into fashions like golf wear, women's golf wear, jewelry, the watch. And then you'll see on the back here is part of that camera bag that looks like a saddle, and I made it into a functional pocket that closes like the back of a saddle. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the flip through. It's a fast one because again, I don't have the space or the the quiet at this house that I usually do. So hopefully the new owner will love it as much and love all the hard work that I put into creating the bag.